First of all, welcome to the stream. It's really nice to have you here. It's amazing. I gotta say, I'm really was looking forward for this. I had a quite stressful day, and I'm really happy that I can do the stream now. Today is the 20th July 2023, and tomorrow is the day when I leave my flat. So here we go. This is all the stuff I'm packing right now because I'm moving to Barcelona, and I'm sitting in front of my laptop, in the huge chaos here. But I like it, to be honest. I love chaos on my desk. It makes me creative. And here, this is my new computer, and actually I'm just using it for learning things, doing things with a terminal. So this is pretty much a really nerdy project I'm doing right now. So I'm writing with the terminal, and as you can see, all these has this hacker aesthetic, and I love that. It makes me very focused, and it helps me a lot to yeah, stay in that focused mode. Okay, cool. Again, welcome to this new live stream. It's amazing to have you here. Today I want to look at a few functions or a few things I found out in processing that I would like to apply to p5.js that I find super helpful. And I want to guide you around to show you what I exactly have in mind. So let's take a look at a project I did quite a few years ago, and it's a project I called The Grid. It's quite old already. I think I just made this 2016 or something. It's a web application, and I would say it's a really, really nice thing I've built here. It's all based on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and it takes a string, which is this is the initial string. I don't know, I just wrote something like a very short creative coding manifesto back then. And the cool thing is now, look, this is amazing. So maybe this text is not super up to date anymore, but look. So I've connected this website to the New York Times API. And every time I click a specific word, it goes to the archive, like the API of the New York Times, goes through the archive between, I think, of all the articles that have been posted or have been written for the New York Times between 1850 and today. And it just searches or it just selects a random article from that archive and prints that to this graphic here. Look, let's click on exhibit. What's happening now? It's just cleaning the whole display, right? And it prints a random headline. So if I click on some words here, I will get the headline which has this word in it, which is amazing, right? What I did here is I really thought about how these so-called split flap display, that's in the title of my YouTube video. It's a so-called split flap display. Let's look that up on Wikipedia. Split flap display. So actually, it's something like this here. So each of these characters has such a mechanic, which it kind of goes through many different characters and just goes through them one by one until it reaches the right character. And in my case, I coded it in a way that it's like a little machine that is behind the characters in the back end, let's say, and just moving only one cell at a time, which is quite nice, I think. So we will not build this because it took like 5 days or something to build this for me. I remember where I did it. I was with my friend Patrick Hübner. It was pretty crazy. We did it on a farm. So we went to a farm close to Paderborn, which is a place where I live, and we spent there 5 days living in a container and hanging out at the farm. There was a little like a place where we could sit and code, which was really, really cool. So we did it there. And it's really nice because what I learned is to really learn something new. It's very, very beneficial if you isolate yourself completely from the distractions of everyday life, like this ones here, right? Like computers and smartphones. And I think for me, this experience of disconnecting myself made me much more effective in my learning processes as well. So I'm currently writing about that, and it's really interesting to observe. Yeah, cool. Okay, this is something I wanted to show you. I just built a very kind of a light version of that. So think of this as a very long string. Don't think about these returns at the ends of the lines. These are not important for now, right? Let's say we have a sentence which says creative coding is nice. Creative coding is nice. What I do here, first of all of these spaces get kind of an underscore. I replace them. And what I do is every frame I take away the last character and I put it to the beginning. right? So every frame, and it just runs like 5 times a second. Here in this example, let me just run this again. So as you can see, right, 5 times a second it just does that, and it just goes through the string and just cuts the last one and pastes it to the first position. And I even found out how that works with processing, which is amazing. I didn't know that. And in JavaScript, things become much more simple, because we don't have to care about the array. Is just, you know, JavaScript arrays are very, very flexible. All right, shall we do this? I think that would be cool. So let's say we have a text. And I create a variable that I call txt in the p5 editor. Let's say we want to have a really nice string or a text or something. Maybe we say something like Barcelona is amazing, because I'm moving to Barcelona. Barcelona is my new home. I think that's a cool sentence. All right, so we have this string here. Let me just set the frame rate to 5 as well here, and I will also create another string, which is actually this is the first version of the string, like the constant string. So I will call this. It's not really a variable anymore, because I don't want this sentence to change. It's actually a constant, and that's why I can use the constant keyword. And to be very clean, I will also change the style of the writing of the word, of the name of the variable to uppercase. So then we need something like a variable, where we put the current state of the text, and I will call this var. Okay, let's say this is initial txt, initial text, and I will call this variable just text. And this is an empty string for now. Does it make sense? Yeah, maybe I don't need that constant anyway. Maybe that's a little bit too overkill. I'm already mixing thoughts here. Okay. Var txt. Let's start with one variable. Setup is running, and here inside of the draw loop I want to do the following. I want to take the last character of the text variable and I want to put it to the beginning of the string. So E should go to the beginning of the string, so like this. How to do that? Well, there are so-called string methods. Let's just look that up. JavaScript string methods. And I think this is something that is actually not really something in P5. We have this in JavaScript. So this is actually something we don't really need to do with P5, but with JavaScript. That's cool. Okay. All right. So what we need is, like, we want to cut the last character from that string, and we want to actually put it to the beginning. So let's Google for that. Put string to string. How can we do that? Like, put something like a string to string we already have. So I also will write JavaScript to the search query here. It's a concatenation. Okay, that makes sense. So concatenation means you have two words or two strings, two texts, could be even books, could be something very huge, and you put them together. Var txt is equal to a plus txt. Let's see what happens then. That works. Play. Okay, I want to console log the result, because that's what we do when we want to see what happens in the variables. So console.log txt. A undefined. All right, txt is undefined. Why is that happening? I don't get that. Oh, because I'm initializing the variable here in the draw loop. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, wow, look at this. Good. So this is exactly what I wanted. So it appends a letter to the string, right? It appends a letter to the string, to the very beginning of that string. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And what I also have to do is, like, I want to find out what's the last character of that string. So that means I can say something like var last is equal to txt, and then I do these, I think this array syntax here, and I say txt.length -1. Would explain, you know, why. Let me see. That's what that gives us when we log this to the console. Let's see. Edit. So what does this log? Console.log last. Run the sketch. Here we go. It's an E. That's correct, right? So the last character is an E. So here I work with a string as an array. That's the pretty cool thing about JavaScript. So in Java this is a little bit more, well, complicated, because Java is very strict about variable types. So when you have a string, it handles a string quite differently than an array, for example, could be an array of characters or string parts. But in JavaScript, the cool thing is we can just use this array syntax, like opening Can you see that, by the way? Maybe just zooming in a bit. So we can use these square brackets here. And this handles the text then as an array. And here we say we want the last element of that string, which is text.length minus 1. So text.length is, let's log text.length. Let's see. Length, see what happens then. So 24, cool. Is that true? Let's check if the computer is not tricking us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, these are 24 characters. So the thing is that this is the zeros. So when we work with arrays, it's always zero based. That means B is the 0th position in this array. And 24 is undefined because 24 is outside, like it's here, something that doesn't exist in the string, right? So that's why we have to say text length minus 1. It's a little bit confusing in the beginning, but just keep in mind that arrays are zero-based in programming, mostly. I don't know any language where arrays are not zero-based. Wouldn't make any sense. So again, we have the last character here, and we could say something like this. We could say text is equal to last plus text, and then we have to erase the last element of the string afterwards. Well, let's run a sketch and see what happens. Okay, we are not logging because the console log function is deactivated, but let me see. I'm running the sketch. So it's appending E to the string because here E is the last character in the string, right? Home E. And what I have to do now, I have to just delete the E, and then I will get this very nice proper pattern. Look, this is really cool actually. And I have a great idea what we could do with that. Wait. I've got an idea. Oh, that's here. I just look at the chat right now. Christian Rodriguez asks, hello Tim, what happened to the Two Perspectives podcast? That's a great question. I'm currently in touch with Patrick. We are already organizing another episode. We just made a recording of an Instagram Live last week, which was amazing. So we were kind of both locked away in different projects, and it was really difficult to find like a common ground for the topic. Yeah, but now we decided to get back to this, and we will restart recording episodes soon. So actually at least that's what we are planning right now. And yeah, we are working on it. I will keep you up to date on Instagram, on my website and so on. So you on the Discord, so you will learn about that. Now, look, this is great. Console.log text. We are logging the text to the console here. Now, we have to delete the last element. How to delete the last element of a string? Actually, to be honest, in JavaScript, I don't know it exactly. JavaScript, delete last element of a string. Always a good choice is Stack Overflow. This question has 2,494 upvotes, which is a lot. Nice. Here we go. This is the method we are looking for, right? Substring. Here we are. So we say txt is equal to txt.substring, sub-str, parentheses, 0, comma, txt.length minus 1. So let's see. Splice. Thank you, as Adi. Splice is also yeah, we can try that as well. Let's see. Okay, we can play a little bit of code golf here to make this code more beautiful. Here we go. That's it. And look, the cool thing about that is look at what kind of patterns it makes. Right? This is cool, isn't it? So maybe we add one more space, and it just creates these beautiful patterns, which we in the end can visualize here on the our sketch window as well. But wait, what we also can do, let me just go to my website. I have a course on my website which is called ASCII Adventures. There you explain how to create ASCII graphics. And in there's a lesson called Fonts and Char Sets. And in here I have loads of cool char sets collected. So let's just copy that one here and paste it into the string and see what happens then, because I think that's going to be a quite nice pattern. Now, of course, we have to strip away the syntax. Wow, it's exciting. Okay, can you see that? This is quite cool. Yeah, it creates some quite interesting patterns here. Very demo scene-y. Console waves, exactly. Nice, right? So this is the console, by the way, right? This is not the sketch window in p5.js. The sketch window is here. And yeah, this is actually happening in the console, which is normally there to debug your code, but you can use it as an art, as an art place to create art. Let's try another one. Let's see what happens when we just take this one, for example. Let's see. It's very short. I think this is a pretty cool thing to play with. I think I want to try the splice function. What does splice do? JavaScript splice. Array prototype splice. Try it. Okay. The splice method changes the contents of an array by removing or replacing existing elements and or adding new elements in place. Wow, that's nice. To create a new array with a segment removed or replaced without mutating the original array, used to spliced. That means you're kind of creating a copy, but we don't need that because it's actually pretty handy to have one array. So we will use the splice method instead of substring, even though this also works. So txt is equal to txt.splice, and then let's see what kind of arguments it needs. Oh, I don't have to use the operator. I just can say txt.splice. So it does something with an existing array. So start and delete. Doesn't it work like the same way as the substring method when I have this combination of parameters? Actually, I feel a little bit more comfortable by using the substring method because that's a little bit simpler in this case. But it's nice to know that the splice method exists, and I will definitely take a look at it. So oh wow, look at this. We could also do something like this. We could create a loop for var I or let. Let's use let. This is the newer JavaScript. It doesn't really make any difference if you use let or var here. Puts a 0, I is smaller than, let's say 2, I++. And then I wrap this code without the console.log into parentheses. And let's just clean up the code and run it. And then I kind of accelerated the whole motion because now it does the whole thing twice. That's also a way to create different patterns. I even could change this value to, let's say 7. I don't know what happens then. Let's see. So it's a different pattern, right? It looks very different. I think that's pretty cool. It's really interesting. Yeah, let's put that to the sketch window. So what we need for that is a font. Let's just use I always use IBM Plex. IBM Plex actually has pretty great block characters. Okay, and I want to use that font. Can I download it? Export. Stream. I have no idea if that works. I never did that. So I was going to, oh wow, look, this worked well. Just went to Fontbook and exported everything to my desktop. So now I can say sketch, and then I say something like upload file, and will drop the medium cut of this font to the sketch. It's uploading. And now I can use that font in my sketch. So we need a variable for that, var font. And in the setup function, I will say something like font is equal to, no, sorry, I have to do it in a preload function. That's different in p5.js, but not a problem at all. Function preload, parentheses, and then I will say something like font is equal to load font, and I will put the name of the font file into this string here. So IBM, maybe I can rename that file. It's a little bit weird otherwise. Here we go. It's called font.otf now. So I'm loading this font into the variable font, and now I can actually use it. So let's try if that's true. Text font is font. Text is just a letter, I don't know. Okay, I will put it to the position 1010. I want to have a sketch window which is blue. Background should be blue. I will write a string into this function here. I will set the text size to 50. Let's see if that works. Yes, it works. It's not really at the right position, but it works. So that was the monospace font. Let's just set the fill color to my favorite white. Also set the font size to 250 to make it really large. Okay, the font is currently aligned at the top, at the bottom, at left bottom. We want to align it at the top left. So text align, parentheses, text align, and then left, comma, top. Here we go. There it is. Amazing, right? A beautiful little A, and I love that. I gotta say, I really like the Plex. It's a beautiful font. It's oriented on the IBM typewriters that they created in the 60s and 70s. So yeah, the whole font is really, really cool, I think. Now we need to define how many characters we want to have at the X and the Y axis. And I will create two variables for that. So var tiles x and var tiles y. So when we have a grid, like here in the console, how many elements we want to have in the x-axis, so on the horizontal axis, and how many we want to have on the vertical axis. And to do that, we can write this one-liner here to say, okay, let's say we want to have 20 on the x-axis. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Let's say 12, also 12 at the y-axis. And now I can calculate the size of the grid cells or of these little characters. I need that to distribute them later on in the grid. So I do that by writing two variables called tile w, which is equal to width divided by tiles x. So tile w is the width of the tile, and tile h is the height of the tile. So height divided by tiles y. And now I'm ready to write the for loop for putting these tiles to the sketch window. So for var I is equal to 0, var x is equal to 0, because I want to have a grid which has an x and a y axis. Var x is equal to 0, x is smaller than tiles x, x++. And I just duplicate that line. I know maybe some of you are already dropping off because they don't know how a loop in p5.js works. I'm actually creating a nested for loop to create a grid, which is stupid. I don't need that. I just need one, and I will show you why in a moment. Well, first of all, let's just set or just display the text. Push and pop. All right, let's just put the text to the sketch window. And this is exciting. See, look, translate x, wait. I can do this much simpler. I'm sorry, but I think I don't need, actually I even don't need a grid. I could do this much, much simpler by just saying, look, this is crazy. Text, txt, the position of the text window should be 0, 0. Let's run the sketch and see what happens. Okay, cool. So we have to delete the a, we don't need that a anymore. Actually, we don't need all that stuff here. We can get rid of it. We set the text size to 40. We define the width and the height of the text frame to width and the height of the text of the sketch window with height. So that means that we, let me see, does it break? Yeah, it breaks. Okay, we need a space in between. This is really nice because it goes automatically to the next line when we tell the sketch that we want to have a defined window size. Okay, I have to say I'm really, really tired right now. I really enjoy it, but I feel like, okay, maybe this is I'm too slow for you guys. And you feel a little bit distracted by that. Oh wow, that is actually really cool what happens here. What is that? So I don't know exactly what I understand, but this is one of the moments in creative coding that you often have when you feel like, okay, there's something interesting happening. You don't know exactly what it is, but it is nice actually. It's very interesting. What I would like to do now is first just deactivate this console log. You can also change the text leading, which is the line height, I think, to 40, see if that works. So let's set the text leading to 60 and see what happens then. Okay, nice, it works. But this is actually pretty awesome. I have no idea what's going on there, but it's really cool. I'm saving the sketch. Let's call it a split flap. But it's not really a split flap anymore. It's more like a split flap fantasy. Maybe I can extend the width of the string, just pasting the whole content of the string again and see what happens then. Okay. What happens when I create some irregularities in it, like make it more chaotic? That's pretty cool, huh? Okay, I will share the sketch now. I will save it and let me okay, share. Here's the link. I will put it to the YouTube live stream chat. And now maybe I can just make a few experiments with different char sets. I would love to see how that looks like when I just use a different char set here. Yeah, the problem is, I explained this very well, I think, in the lesson in type machines called text frames. Here we go. So processing and p5.js break texts when you define the width of and the height, or especially the width of the text, but it doesn't break words in a way that, well, interestingly, it does here, right? It breaks the words when the text frame gets too small or too narrow. That's pretty weird. Let's do a little experiment and just copy that code here, put it to processing, put it in there. I don't want to use the font because that I would have to copy it. Okay, I have a string here. So when I just run the sketch, be like water, so it breaks and it breaks again, and then it starts to break the words, right? This is crazy because it doesn't do that right now in my sketch. So when I have a string, which is quite long, it doesn't break it, so it goes out of the sketch window. This seems to be a little bit different in p5.js compared with processing. I mean, it's not really a big deal. We can just add some spaces. I don't know what happens then. So, okay. You know, it looks a little bit like a data flow defragmentization kind of visual. I don't know, it looks like it's cleaning up my hard drive. Look, that's cool, right? Yeah, that's pretty nice. So it looks like a data stream. The data is processed by whatever. And I really want to take this opportunity again to point out that what we are doing right now, what I'm doing right now is creative coding. So what happens now is I started with an idea, but I'm listening to my intrinsic motivation, I'm listening to my own ideas, and I try to resonate with the visual and to see what I like, and I just go with the flow, right? I don't care that much if an idea changes over the course of the development here, because I don't want to rebuild something. I'm more about creating something new and unique, and that's actually it, right? That's what creative coding is for me. So look, what if I have an idea? I need to create another variation of that. I will say something like file, duplicate, I will create a copy, I will call this split flap fantasy 2. And now I'm thinking about the following. What if we take that string, don't do the split flap display, but we take that kind of data stream and make it three-dimensional. So we take that string to make it maybe fly around a three-dimensional space. That would be really cool. Make these letters fly through the space. I don't know how to, well, what we could do is, probably it would be enough if we just have a camera that controls the 3D scene, and we have the string in the middle, like a long string in the 3D space, and we just rotate it. We look at it from different angles in the 3D space. So that would be pretty cool. Okay, let's do that. So first of all, I need to change the mode to WebGL. So create canvas 400 times 400 to WebGL. This is the way to make something three-dimensional. And now I will set the text align to center. I will delete the text leading function because we don't need it anymore. And then I will create a new matrix with push and pop. I will say, okay, text should be at position 0, 0. I will translate the whole coordinate system. Translate, parentheses, to the width and the height of the sketch window. Also will change the, delete the two parameters that make the text field size to make it like flexible. Let's see what happens. Oh, it is not in the middle. Oh, because in 3D, that's the thing. In 3D, everything already starts in the middle in p5.js. It's different in processing. The coordinate system starts at the top left. And actually, I can also just resize that to 550, make it a little bit larger. All right, okay. I maybe even can get rid of all these spaces here because we don't need them anymore to wrap. Cleaning up the basic string. And press start. Rawr. Nice. Okay, just copy it again, like take that stuff, put it in there again, like making it a little bit longer. Now, let's create the camera. I will go to my courses and I go to the third dimension, and there's a lesson called the camera, and I will go down here and copy that code from here to put it into my sketch. This is actually the code for a 3D camera in processing, and I put it into the draw loop here, sketch. I will tidy the code, and now it should look exactly the same. Yep, it does. Perfect, that means it works. And now I can start to tweak the camera position a bit. We want to look at this kind of string with a mouse. We want to control the angle, and I can do that by saying map, mouse X, comma 0, which is the minimum value, and width, which is the maximum value, comma minus 400 or something like that, like a few hundred pixels, and plus 400. Oh, it's rotating on the wrong axis. Anyway, yeah, we're mapping the mouse position. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Again, let's take the code. We have to rotate it on the x-axis. Why is that happen? Why is that? I don't get this. Because the y-axis is this one here. This is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis. Strange, but it works. It doesn't look spectacular yet, but wait for it. So let's make this a little bit more dramatic, so we can go really, really far out and far into it. Nice. So let's make it longer. Yeah, cool. Let's see what we can do if we just, well, let's just take that function here and do the same thing with the y-axis. So y equals the map mouse y, not mouse x, but mouse y. Wow, look at this, right? I can just rotate the whole thing now with a mouse. I would change the font size now because for me now, right now, it's way too small. Let's say we want to put it to 50. That's pretty awesome, right? So it looks like a data stream, like a pretty cool data stream. So this is a point where I would say this is already quite nice. So I would probably make a copy of it, rename it to Split Flap Fantasy 3. Okay, I will share this one with you. Julian is also there. Hello, Julian. Amazing. Julian and I, we are doing a project. You have to check out his Instagram channel and his work. He's amazing. And it was a big honor for me to work with him. I love that. I gotta say, I'm pretty overwhelmed now because I already like this very much. And I don't know exactly where to go from here. Maybe you have an idea. So Miguel writes, I wonder out of the box if you have work with Canvas Sketch and what you think about that lib. Let me see, what is that? Canvas Sketch. A framework is a loose collection of tools, modules and resources for creating generative art in JavaScript in a browser. Well, that's a question I probably can answer very well because I think every new framework on the market is great. It's just fantastic that people start to think about what creative coding frameworks could be used, and this looks really, really exciting. I got to admit I'm pretty much committed to use processing and p5.js because for me the tool actually doesn't play that much a role. I guess that what you do with Canvas Sketch is pretty comparable with p5, and p5 is just so broad that I even explore the details of it. There's so much to learn for myself still after, I don't know, not maybe 9 years of creative coding. So I don't see the necessity to switch, but if you give me a good reason, I would probably think about it. Okay, I've got an idea. What if we, instead of just having one string with all of these characters, it's very static, it's just like a bar, we could make a wave, make them move in a wave motion. That could be quite interesting. So make them fly through the space. Let's do this. So we have a text. Instead of showing them as one line, I want to show them as a wave that goes through the three-dimensional space. How to do that? Well, I have to create a loop, another loop, for, and I will loop through all of these characters. So for let I is equal to 0, I is smaller than txt.length, which is a function in JavaScript, I think, and I++. So, and now I have to define the position. Let me just put that to the bottom of the sketch because that doesn't make any sense here. I have to put it here, and also I want to display the string inside of that. Sorry, I want to have the code of this of the text function inside of the for loop. Tidy code, and okay, now I have to calculate the positions on the x and the y axis. First of all, I would like to distribute these elements in a circular way. I will create a variable which is the current character. So var c is equal, ch is equal to txt and then array syntax I. All right, so this gets the current character and stores it in a variable called ch. Now I need a variable for the x and the y position. So var x is equal to, and now I will create a sine function which has a phase which drives the sine wave in the end. So I will create a radiance function into the sine function. I will make it move with the frame count, and I will multiply that with a value like 200 or something. I would do the same with the y-axis. Replace sine with cosine and put x and y into the translate function. Okay, this is not working. Okay, wait, what's going on here? Okay, first of all, it displays the whole text. I just want to display the characters. Play again. It's displaying all the characters at the same point. Yeah, of course. Why? Because, wow, that's cool. Look, in the face, I have to mix X and Y into it. So I have to say something like plus X and plus Y. Because otherwise, everything does the same. So all the characters are at the same position. But, oh, plus I, not plus X and Y. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness, what did we do? What did I do? But it's really interesting, actually. So I have no idea what's going on here. Okay, maybe I times 10 or something, and maybe I should decrease the font size a bit. Completely losing track now. I know some of you can't follow me anymore. Okay, wow, but look, now everything is distributed as in circle. Maybe the string is now a little bit too long. Let's see what happens when we just shorten it a bit. Okay, that's cool, yeah. Instead of just making it like in a circular way, also it would be nice to also move it on the y-axis. So we create another variable called var z, on the z-axis, I'm sorry, and also put that to the translate function. Let's see what's going on then. Now it's also a little bit going into the depth of the whole sketch window, right? It goes a little bit to the periphery on the z-axis, which is cool. Okay, and now if we add some irregularities, it becomes really interesting. Look, for example, I will do something like times 2. Here I will say something like times 1. Here we'll say something like times 1.5, for example. Play. And now it becomes something like a data stream in space, making a wave motion kind of thing. I will create a variable here which controls the intensity. I can demonstrate this by using the mouse x value, or let's say var amp is equal to mouse x times 0.1, for example. I will put amp into this position here. Yeah. Look, the closer I get to the left edge, whoa, this is pretty awesome, huh? Pretty awesome. So the closer I get to the left edge of the sketch window, the closer these characters are. The more I go to the right, the higher the distance between the characters becomes. That's amazing. I gotta save that. Okay, let's say we want to have more of these beautiful little symbols. Let's say the double amount. And we would like to have a little bit more complexity in the wave. Let's say we want to have something like, I don't know, times 1. Maybe we can even change one of these functions to a tan function, which has a completely different aesthetic, a different way of flow, right? It goes from the top and moves to the bottom, but it's very chaotic. Let's set it back to cause. I love that. We could also implement the GIF export function from the last sketch. And then, what I want to show you, there's something really, really cool I can show you with this here. And I think this is a great way to also land with this live stream. So we will create a GIF file now, and then I will show you how to optimize it for your website and also convert it to a video. All right, let's go into another P5 editor window. Go to my sketches, go to live stream from 2 weeks ago, sorry. And then I have to go to index.html, copy this create loop.js thing, which is the framework for creating a GIF loop in p5.js. I will put it to the HTML file of my current sketch here. Getting back, I will go to the sketch.js and I will run this create loop function in my setup function here as well. I copy it to sketch.js, to the setup function, under the frame rate function. Run the sketch, let's see. It should be recording a GIF now, and this GIF should appear here. Haha, here we go, look at this. This is amazing, right? So I will copy that file and save it to my desktop. Let's call it, I don't know, ASCII wave. Go to desktop, check it out. So it is quite large now. It has 1100 times 1100 pixels, which is a little bit crazy. So this exporter just doubles the size of the canvas, which is actually really, really large. So there's an amazing tool I wanna show you today, which is called EasyGIF. So EasyGIF is a tool I use like every day for editing my GIF files for my website, and I've got loads of them. So if you go there, for example, these GIFs are all edited with EasyGIF, and it works the following. You take a video or a GIF. In this case, I will use this GIF and click on Optimize. I just click on Upload, click on ASCII Wave, say Upload, and then I have quite a few tools available to edit this GIF. So let's change the width to 600 pixels. 1100 is a little bit too large from my point of view. And yeah, this is a GIF I would post on my website. The file size is also here decreased by minus 41,93%. I can use the optimize filters and functions to even reduce the file size. I can reduce the colors to 20, for example, which should be fine for this very duotone image, and we even reduced it again. So file sizes in GIFs are big problems. It's really something that is not, it's not really fun to have a big GIF and wait for it until it loads on the website. And then you also can use compression here, pump it up to 167 or something like that. And yeah, here we go. So now we have a GIF with 238 kilobytes, and I save this to my screen. And yeah, that's Easy GIF. Pretty exciting, pretty cool tool. What we also can do is I often use a tool called Handbrake, to convert media from, or video formats mostly. For example, when I export my videos from Final Cut, I get M4V files, which are pretty large, and I want to have MP4 files. Actually, it is not possible to render an MP4 from Final Cut. That's why I just use Handbrake to convert it. And this time I'm converting a GIF to an MP4. So I just dragged it onto Easy GIF. I'm checking the settings if everything is fine. It is fine, all right. And then I just press play, bloop, and here we go. We have an MP4, which I in theory could post to Instagram. Well, now I took the small one, which is the wrong one. Let's take the large one again, put it in there, press play, and boom, here we go. So we have an MP4 from a GIF. So that means we can actually render videos from p5.js, which is fantastic. I think it would be great to stop here with the editing. I would love to know what kind of stuff you would like to see in the future. Maybe we can do a little Q&A. Also, I would love to know from you how you like the streams, what I can make better. Maybe it's a little bit difficult to follow. What can I do to support you a bit? Let me know. I'm here for that. Let me see what's in the chat. Not that much. Miguel, I would like to see some examples you did with the New York Times encryption. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I did this visual for the New York Times. So what I do is I just publish loads of sketches and ideas to my Instagram channel. And for this piece, I was kind of creating an illustration for an article about encryption and data privacy and so on. And that was really interesting. So what we did is we took some of my private images. That's me with my father. This is me the first day of school. And these photos represented this topic of privacy, because these are very, very personal, very private photos. So and we kind of created some I created some generative patterns that were overlaying, creating these amazing motions with the copy function and the modulo operator. And actually, if you're interested in learning how that works, I've got courses that could be interesting for you. So one is called Copy and Paste, which explains the copy function, which is something like a passepartout, or it just takes a little piece of an image and places it to another place, makes it smaller, larger, skews it, distorts it, whatever. So this is a really amazing function. I use it very often. And also modulo mixtape. And this course is about modulo. So the modulo operator is pretty handy to create these amazing patterns here. For example, there are many more things you can do with the modulo. Actually, modulo says something like, okay, go through, for example, here, through a row of elements, and every nth element should be different. And that's really interesting, because when you use the modulo again, also to break into a new line, and you combine that, you get these kinds of patterns. And there was a random algorithm that just generated like hundreds of videos based on the image material, and in the end we just selected the best scenes from the output and put them together as a video, which is now the header of this article on the NewYorkTimes.com, which is pretty amazing. I'm very proud of this client, to be honest. Dario Pistillo, this is a nice name. Hi Tim, maybe we can get a deeper look into classes and functions. Appreciate your work so much, by the way. Thank you very much, Dario. Love to hear that. This will be something like a point in my curriculum. I'm working on these courses all the time, where I flip the switch and then I will introduce a course on classes and objects. But mostly in my teaching, I try to be below it, because I look at my curriculum as something like an onboarding curriculum for people that resonate with graphic design and typography, low-tech aesthetics and so on. That's the reason why I mostly don't touch this topic of object-oriented programming. But of course, I mean, this is a paradigm in programming which is very important, and there will be a point in time when I go deeper into this. It would be also interesting to compare functional and object-oriented programming and to see what's possible with both. Actually, a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's a good point. Thank you very much for that. So this was also really nice. It was in the beginning of COVID, and they were seeing this static or more or less static visual on my Instagram feed, and I thought this would be nice to explain how contact tracing works. So we made this visual for that. So, there's a randomness, and then there is a point in the middle, and everything is just pointing to the middle, and and then it just kind of zooms into that person or this figure that is representing the origin of the infection. Quite cool. I love that. I think generative design is amazing to create illustrations for editorial. It's really cool. Here I've been using the amazing Ani library by Benedikt Groß, who's one of the authors of the book Generative Gestaltung or Generative Design. It works super well with processing. It's an amazing library, and it helps you to create keyframe animations. That means you can kind of create a dramaturgy how your variables should tweak and change, and you even have the possibilities to create easings, right? So create something like like an exponential curve and the easing and so on. It's really, really cool. And I did that animation as well with the Ani library. Oh, Saber Khan is also there. Hey Tim, wondering if you do anything with 3D shapes in p5.js. Well, I have to say I am not that much into the mathematical parts of creating 3D shapes. I know that Dan Schiffman has amazing tutorials for that, because I'm not that much into math. Okay, Andrea Cuervo is asking, thanks Tim for the great explanation. My first time seeing p5.js. Okay, I worked in Touch Designer and 3D software, and p5.js looks fantastic. It is necessary to have some programming developer knowledge. p5.js is absolutely made for beginners, and everything, all the resources you find, not just on my website, but also on Dan's channel, on p5.js reference and so on, is very, very beginner friendly. Cool, next one. With the advent of AI, do you feel with learning a new skill set such as processing, will AI make creative coding more accessible? This is a good point. There's a big problem right now, because AI is just making people so confused. Yes, AI is going to change the world, and yes, AI is going to change the jobs of artists and designers and so on. But if we want to make a difference and if we want to stay relevant, we have to learn to think. As humans, we are creative. We are people that can create something. I mean, do you want to live in a world where AI creates all the art out there? I think nobody wants. And I'm very happy that people become more skeptical about it. For me, creative coding is the perfect school to learn how a computer works. And we have to tame our computers to make sure they do what we want and not the other side around. I learned so much about from creative coding. For me, it's all about the thinking and the cognitive and the creative process in my head. So it makes me it just optimizes my thinking in a way, and it makes me smarter and makes me think in a smarter way. It connects me with people. So that's what I love about creative coding, and I cannot replace that. I hope that's true, and if you disagree, let me know, but that's my point on AI. So here is a blog post about my thoughts on artificial intelligence. One thing is sure, or is safe. We as people will lose life quality when we stop thinking and just put everything onto AI. Coding, learning to program and learning creative coding makes you more literate to speak about these things, right? Because you know what an algorithm is, you know how programming works, you know how these applications work, and maybe even you are able to understand a little bit how an AI algorithm works. That's one of the reasons why creative coding is amazing, because it empowers you to think smarter about our digitized reality. I think this is a good point to stop the stream. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing to speak to you and to do this. So it's always pretty cool to do these streams. I was looking forward to this since the whole day. We see us again in 2 weeks. Next week I will stream a casual talk with my friend Lena Weber, who is a creative coder from Weimar in Berlin, and she makes amazing work. She helped me a lot to find my voice in the last month. So there were many things I was thinking about, and she was a very important sparrings partner for me. Cool, I think that's it. I wish you a fantastic day, and I hope to see you next week as well, and maybe even the week after, where I will again go live on YouTube to do a stream. Thank you very much, and I will hit this stop recording and stop stream button now. Bye bye, see you.